Hello, welcome back. So I wanted to do another video on Abiotic Factor. The Crush Steps update is coming out soon, I'm assuming, and I just had to do like one more thing before the update comes out, and specifically, I left a thing on the Steam community forums. I personally reached out in Discord about some feedback, but I want to go further, and I want to actually just make a whole video on this subject. Uh, so as you know, I love food. I love the cooking system in the game. But one of my personal criticisms of the game thus far is like the job system is like pretty good, but I feel like there's not much weapon variety for the jobs themselves. And I wanted to personally just suggest a whole bunch of stuff for the food and like cooking profession for a body factor. Um, because obviously there's a lot of cooking items right now, but when it comes to like chef equipment, there really isn't much. Like they default to sharp weapons and things, but I'm not really a big fan of like all the sharp weapons in the game. It mostly just devolves into like spears and like swords. All those are cool. I don't think they really feel very science chefy, if you get what I'm going for. So I I like to think I'm good at the very least at coming up with concepts for like things you could work with in a game setting like this. I'm not a good artist, but I'm good at like coming up with concepts. So I decided it would be a fun exercise. You know, I have ideas for what you could do, but I think to limit myself right now, I wanted to go through all the items and objects currently in the game and see, you know, what could we realistically like make with those items. And, you know, that's what I'm going to do. So, we're going to go down one by one with all my current item and weapon concepts. And I will preemptively block out what you aren't allowed to see it with my funny little grave sensor bar. So yeah. And we're gonna talk about like the first one I want to talk about, which is the one I've probably posted the most about, is like, give us more short range dagger like weapons. I feel like that's like the weirdest thing. Is like, you know, I get the idea. You know, our scientists aren't very combat like focused, but so they want to make spears and such because it's like safer. But like realistically, like I'm a scientist. Like if I'm like a scientist chef, why am I not making a pizza cutter? I mean, like, we kind of already are kind of there. Like, there's a lot of screwdrivers. The power drill, like, right here. I think it's either the hand drill or the power drill. They're both very similar names. It's, like, so close to, like, what I envisioned for a weapon. Like, it's like a hand drill. It has the spinny disc it looks like it could be a good weapon, but it has a screwdriver right there. And it's like, get that out of there. Let me just, like, put, like, a bunch of discs on it. And like try and shred something with like with my hand instead. Like I just want like things that are like, you know, I want more risky options for a chef to use, because obviously I don't really expect them to be using spears. They have little like one-handed weapons. I want to use one-handed weapons, and I feel like I always have a lot of those random discs flying around later in the game. I don't have many grinders set up. I mostly use shock traps and stuff, such and such. So this gives me like a different weapon to use. So this is definitely the one I want to see in the game the most. Just because, like, why don't I have a pizza cutter? That feels like the easiest one you could probably come up with, because there's a lot of shorthand weapons that aren't actually weapons. So this is a fun one I kind of came up with on the spot while I was working on this. The packed lunch. So briefcases currently don't really have many uses. Like, they have a healing use, but like that's about it. I thought it would be a funny idea, because like the cooked potato says something about how it's like it would be good as offensive weaponry. So what if you like combined with the boom bait, because it makes a little ticking sound, it makes a tiny little explosion. What if you literally put a hot potato in that, and then it just explodes with giant spikes everywhere? I think that'd be cool. It works. I mean, like, hot potato is like a throwing like one of those things around is just like it's like one of those easy old jokes you could think of. This just seems like a very silly thing that works, and there's a lot of silly like chef weapons like that are throwables. Uh, like the slushy bomb, the mug nade, stuff like that. This is just another fun thing, and I think the briefcase being a bigger object, it makes it more fun. This is something that isn't really in the game yet. So yeah, I like this a lot personally. And now this is one that I personally, again, more short-range weapons is something that I want for chefs in general, but I think most importantly, why do we not have frying pan weapons? I remember one of the things I saw when I was watching some streamers play is they try to pick up a frying pan and use it as a weapon, but they can't. And they get kind of confused, like, oh, shouldn't that be a weapon? And I'm like, yeah, why isn't it a weapon? I can whack people with it. I've seen like people do that in Dead Rising and such all the time. So I'm like, you know what? Let's make this a weapon, please. Like, this is like the most de facto chef weapon, a frying pan. Whack someone with that heavy thing. It's gonna hurt. Let me whack an alien with this thing. So yeah, and if I can't use a basic frying pan as a weapon, let me make it into one. So one of the things I had thought about is, again, a Dead Rising thing, because I think of a lot of Dead Rising weapons. The frying pan in that game, you can kind of like smack it on, no, you don't smack it, you put it on the stove, you let it heat up, and then you can carry it around like forever, and then smack it with the frying pan on a zombie's face and just cook them. It's a fun little thing. I always love that. It's one of the reasons why I love the frying pan weapons in Dead Rising. So I think it'd be cool if we could just weaponize frying pans and but in a more sciencey way, where you can like attach a heater onto it, so it's always like cooking, and you can even have a little timer on it to see like how much charge it has before you need to like slap it on a stove. And that's another thing I want to do for the frying pan weapons. I think it'd be really cool because I think charging stations are kind of in a lot of weird spots. It would be cool if chefs had a unique advantage where frying pans could be put on stoves to like charge them up in the same way you would put other weapons on like charging batteries. This gives frying pans another like advantageous use. So chefs have another weapon on the go, so they can do their cooking and then they can heat up a weapon and just be ready to fight. I like this a lot. Obviously, I didn't really know what other items you could use for the electrical version. I just grabbed the capacitor because that's a more late game electrical item, and I feel like you don't really use many of these already. So this, it just felt right to me. I don't know how realistic it is, but I just thought it'd be okay. And then Chopinator to go. It's on a stick now. I mean, I'm a little bit biased towards this one, I'll admit. I like the Chopinator, but I've never used it personally. I would rather just turn it into a weapon myself and fight with it. One of my original characters has like a giant like thing like this on a stick, but it's more like a giant pizza cutter. So this is probably the closest I could get to like a weird weapon like that. Plus, I think the more heavy, sharp weapons would be fun. There's a lot of like there's like 4, I think, heavy sharp weapons, but they're all just kind of random things you pick up. I think the only one you make is like the Peccary Club, which is like, I think it'd be cool if you could just make one yourself. And this is just a silly one that I personally came up with. I don't know how many people have actually like seen this video of like this guy with this pizza axe. He's like, oh, I just made a pizza axe. It literally, he just slings it down and just automatically slices everything into individual slices. And he literally just made it from like a bunch of pieces of metal. And I'm like, okay, this is simple to make. I could probably realistically get a scientist to just do this in the game. Why not? Maybe by manufacturing, I could get some rebar together and make something silly like it. And I also just like the idea that like it has no practical use because you can just tap E and get all the slices yourself. But it'd be really funny if you smashed anything with this axe. It would always like split up into like every single individual slice, and all the items would just fly everywhere. it just sounds like really silly. I love that. I want it. It'd be really nice. And this is not a weapon suggestion. This is more just like a fun thing. Because there's a pest wheel in the game. I thought, you know what? I like the slushy item, but I think it's kind of a shame that you can't actually drink it. But I was like, you know what? There's also a lot of random sodas in the game that you can't really use with anything. What if there was like a way to like make one of those really fancy looking slushy machines, like where you can like see the liquid mixing in the back wall, and I just love how these things look visually, and it'd be really cool if you could set one of these up yourself. But it would also open up a new thing where you could just have a whole mixology station. Because mixology is a thing. Like, you know, it's basically just like a bartending in The Sims and all that jazz. I like the idea that you can mix a whole bunch of fruits, veggies, and sodas together. Things that don't really have any like crafting recipes right now suddenly get a new use. And I also just like the idea of like mixing a lot of the weirder stuff together, because I know there's like the space lettuce is very pretty, has a very nice effect to it. It'd be really cool if you can mix that into other like drinks and sodas and get a very galactic soda smoothie looking thing. Like there's just a lot of like colorful drink ideas I'm thinking of off the top of my head. And I know like we're in the next update we're getting more like colder temperature environments. So this would probably be a good way of like introducing more colder drinks. Because obviously I imagine we're probably going to get something like ice or like science ice in the next update. I don't know. So maybe you could probably include something there as well. But I don't know. This just sounded really cool and I had to include it as an idea. Because I just want to use sodas and other things. I want more things to make. Okay, that's it though. I don't really have anything else to suggest right now. I'll probably make another video if I come up with something. But I love the food in this game. I love the cooking system. I love the drinks. I just want more weapons and items and things to use. And I feel like if this covers a good range of things. It gives me like more short-ranged weapons, more throwable items, more like heavy, sharp weapons. Like there's just like a whole lot of stuff here. And there's a weapon variety, and I really like that. And then there's, you know, a little suggestion for like craftables, and just for the heck of it, throw it in there. Why not? So yeah, I don't know if any devs are watching this. I'm just very passionate about your game. I love it, so I just had to suggest something, and hopefully, you know, you guys see it. But yeah, I can't wait for the summer update. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see what else we make. They've already teased a bunch of things for chefs already. I'm very excited. There's the cooking table, and then there's gonna be rice now, and there's fishing. I can't wait. So there's already gonna be a whole lot to spoil myself with. But again, the weapons thing is like the only thing I'm currently like feeling is lacking right now. But yeah, looking forward to it. Very excited. Hope you take my suggestions. I'll definitely talk more about this game in the future because I love it a lot. That's it for now, though. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.